You wake up in the morning, you haven't eaten anything in 8, maybe 10 hours. You check your blood sugar, and it's high, higher than it was before you went to bed. You didn't sneak downstairs for a midnight snack. You didn't cheat. You followed all the rules. So why is your fasting blood sugar worse in the morning than it was the night before? If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. And no, you're not doing something wrong. This is one of the most frustrating and misunderstood parts of managing diabetes. But once you understand what's actually happening inside your body while you sleep, it starts to make sense. And more importantly, you'll know what you can do about it. First, let me say this. If you've been blaming yourself for high morning blood sugar, stop. This isn't about willpower. It's not about sneaking food or failing to follow your doctor's advice. What's happening is biological. Your body has systems running in the background all night long, and sometimes those systems push your blood sugar up even when you're doing everything right. I'm a physician, and I see this confusion in my patients constantly. They come in frustrated, feeling like they're failing, when really they just need to understand how their body works. That's what we're going to talk about today. No guilt, no shame, just clear explanations and practical steps. Let's start with the basics. When you eat, your blood sugar rises. That makes sense. Food, especially carbohydrates, breaks down into glucose, which enters your bloodstream. Your pancreas releases insulin to help move that glucose into your cells, where it can be used for energy. In people with diabetes, this system doesn't work as efficiently. Either your body doesn't make enough insulin, or your cells don't respond to insulin the way they should. That's called insulin resistance. But here's what most people don't realize. Even when you're not eating, your body still needs glucose. Your brain, your heart, your organs, they all run on glucose 24 hours a day. So while you sleep, your liver releases stored glucose into your bloodstream to keep everything functioning. This is normal. This happens in everyone. The problem in people with diabetes is that this process can become exaggerated. Your liver releases too much glucose, or your body doesn't have enough insulin to manage it properly. That's why you wake up with high blood sugar, even though you haven't eaten since dinner. Now let's talk about the specific reasons this happens. Understanding these will change how you approach your morning numbers. Reason number 1 is something called the dawn phenomenon. This is the most common cause of high morning blood sugar, and it's completely natural. Between roughly 3 a.m. and 8 a.m., your body releases hormones that prepare you to wake up: cortisol, growth hormone, and adrenaline. These hormones give you energy to start your day, but they also signal your liver to release glucose into your bloodstream. Now, people without diabetes, the pancreas releases extra insulin to handle this glucose surge, and blood sugar stays stable. In people with diabetes, that insulin response is either delayed or insufficient. The glucose builds up, and by the time you wake up and check your blood sugar, it's elevated. This isn't something you caused. It's your body's internal clock doing what it's designed to do. The problem is that your insulin system can't keep up. Doctors often see this in patients who have good blood sugar control during the day, but struggle with fasting numbers. It's frustrating because it feels like you're doing everything right, and in many ways, you are. The issue is hormonal timing. Reason number 2 is the Somogyi effect. This doesn't happen to everyone, and it's less common than the dawn phenomenon, but it's important to rule out. This happens when your blood sugar drops too low during the night, usually because of medication timing or not eating enough at dinner. When your blood sugar falls, your body perceives it as an emergency. It releases stress hormones like cortisol and glucagon, which tell your liver to dump stored glucose into your bloodstream to bring your levels back up. The problem is, your body often overcompensates. By morning, your blood sugar is high, not because it's been high all night, but because it dropped too low and your body overcorrected. This is why some people wake up feeling shaky, sweaty, or with a headache, even though their morning blood sugar reading looks high. The key difference between dawn phenomenon and Somogyi effect is what happened during the night. If your blood sugar was stable or gradually rising, it's dawn phenomenon. If it dropped low and then rebounded high, it's Somogyi effect. The only way to know for sure is to check your blood sugar in the middle of the night, around 2 or 3 a.m., for a few nights. I know that sounds inconvenient, but it gives you critical information. If your blood sugar is low in the middle of the night, you need to adjust your medication timing or have a small snack before bed. If it's normal or rising gradually, you're dealing with dawn phenomenon. If this is already sounding familiar, pause for a moment. You're not failing. Your body is reacting the way bodies with diabetes react. Understanding that difference changes everything. Reason number 3 is eating too late or eating the wrong things before bed. A lot of people eat dinner at 6 or 7 p.m., then have a snack later in the evening while watching TV. Maybe it's crackers, cereal, fruit, or a dessert. These foods, especially refined carbs or sugary snacks, cause your blood sugar to spike. If you go to bed shortly after eating, your body is still processing that food while you sleep. In people with diabetes, this processing takes longer and is less efficient. The result is that your blood sugar stays elevated through the night and is still high when you wake up. On top of that, large meals or high-carb dinners can overwhelm your body's ability to produce enough insulin, especially later in the day when insulin sensitivity tends to be lower. Research suggests that eating earlier in the evening and keeping your last meal lighter and balanced leads to better fasting blood sugar. That doesn't mean you can't eat at night. It just means being mindful of timing and content. Reason number 4 is not moving enough during the day, particularly in the evening. Physical activity helps your muscles use glucose for energy. When you move, your muscles pull glucose out of your bloodstream, which lowers blood sugar. This effect can last for hours after you stop exercising. But if you've been sedentary all day and you sit on the couch all evening, your muscles aren't using much glucose. That glucose stays in your bloodstream. Overnight, your liver adds more glucose to the mix because of the dawn phenomenon, and by morning, you're dealing with accumulated high blood sugar. Studies indicate that even a short 10 to 15-minute walk after dinner can significantly improve fasting blood sugar. It doesn't have to be intense, just movement, enough to get your muscles engaged and using some of that circulating glucose before you go to bed. Take a breath. We're halfway through, and I know this is a lot of information. But stick with me, because what comes next is where things get practical. Reason number 5 is stress and poor sleep. I know this doesn't seem directly related, but it is. When you're stressed, your body releases cortisol. Cortisol raises blood sugar by signaling your liver to release glucose. If you're lying in bed, stressed, worried, or unable to sleep, your cortisol levels stay elevated. That keeps your blood sugar higher than it should be. On top of that, poor sleep disrupts the hormones that regulate hunger and blood sugar. When you don't sleep well, your body becomes more insulin resistant the next day, which makes it even harder to control blood sugar. It's a cycle. High blood sugar can make it harder to sleep, and poor sleep makes blood sugar harder to control. Doctors often see patients whose blood sugar improves significantly just by addressing sleep quality and stress management. It's not magic. It's biology. Reason number 6 is medication timing. If you take long-acting insulin or certain oral diabetes medications, the timing of your dose matters. If your medication wears off too early in the morning, you don't have enough coverage during those dawn hours when your liver is releasing glucose. Alternatively, if you take medication too early in the evening, it might peak overnight and cause low blood sugar, which then triggers the somogyi effect. This is something you need to discuss with your doctor. Sometimes, a simple adjustment in when you take your medication or switching to a different formulation can make a huge difference in your morning numbers. Don't adjust your medication on your own, but do track your patterns and bring that information to your doctor so they can help you fine-tune your regimen. Now let's talk about the mistakes people make when trying to fix high morning blood sugar. The first mistake is skipping dinner or eating very little at night, thinking it will lower morning blood sugar. Sometimes it does, but often it makes things worse. When you don't eat enough, your blood sugar can drop during the night, triggering that rebound effect I mentioned earlier. You wake up high because your body overcompensated for the low. Instead of skipping meals, focus on balance. A moderate dinner with protein, fiber, and healthy fat helps keep your blood sugar stable overnight. The second mistake is eating a big, carb-heavy dinner late at night. Pizza at 9 p.m., pasta at 10 p.m. Your body is trying to process all that food while you sleep, and it can't keep up. You wake up with elevated blood sugar because your system was overwhelmed. Aim to eat dinner at least 3 hours before bed and keep it balanced. If you need a snack, later choose something small with protein and fat, like a handful of nuts or a piece of cheese. The third mistake is not checking blood sugar at different times. If you only check in the morning, you don't know what's happening overnight. Is your blood sugar stable and rising gradually? Or is it dropping and then rebounding? Checking once in the middle of the night for a few nights gives you that answer. It's inconvenient, but it's incredibly useful information. The fourth mistake is ignoring stress and sleep. People think diabetes management is all about food and medication, but stress and sleep have direct, measurable effects on blood sugar. If you're not sleeping well or you're constantly stressed, your blood sugar will be harder to control no matter what else you do. And by the way, in a future video, I'll also explain why some so-called healthy foods raise morning blood sugar even more than desserts. That one surprises a lot of people. So what can you actually do to improve your morning blood sugar? Let's go through some practical steps that doctors often recommend. First, if you suspect dawn phenomenon, talk to your doctor about adjusting your medication timing. Some people benefit from taking their long-acting insulin or medication later in the evening, so it covers those early morning hours more effectively. Others might need a small increase in their nighttime dose. This has to be done carefully with medical supervision, but it can make a significant difference. Second, try eating dinner earlier and keeping it balanced. Aim for at least 3 hours between your last meal and bedtime. Include protein, fiber, and healthy fats. Avoid large portions of refined carbs like white bread, pasta, or sugary desserts late in the evening. Third, move after dinner. Even a 10-minute walk around the block helps your muscles use glucose and can lower your blood sugar going into the night. You don't need to go to the gym, just move. Fourth, if you're waking up high and you suspect nighttime lows, try a small snack before bed. Something with protein and a bit of carbohydrate. A tablespoon of peanut butter with a few whole grain crackers. A small piece of cheese with an apple. This gives your body a steady source of glucose overnight, so your liver doesn't feel the need to dump a large amount all at once. Fifth, prioritize sleep. Go to bed at the same time each night. Keep your bedroom cool and dark. Limit screen time an hour before bed. These aren't diabetes-specific tips, but they matter. Better sleep improves insulin sensitivity and helps regulate the hormones that affect blood sugar. Sixth, manage stress in whatever way works for you. Deep breathing, journaling, talking to a friend, stretching, even 5 minutes of intentional calm before bed can lower cortisol levels and improve your overnight blood sugar. And seventh, track your patterns. Check your blood sugar at different times. Before bed, in the middle of the night once or twice. First thing in, the morning. Look for trends over a week or two. Bring that information to your doctor. That's how you get personalized adjustments that actually work for your body. Here's what I want you to understand. High morning blood sugar is frustrating, but it's not a sign that you're failing. It's a sign that your body's internal systems are working differently than they do in people without diabetes. Once you understand the why, you can work with your doctor to make targeted changes. Small adjustments in medication timing, meal timing, activity, and sleep can lead to significant improvements. This isn't about perfection. It's about understanding your body and making informed choices that work over time. Your morning blood sugar is just one number. It's a useful piece of information, but it doesn't define your entire diabetes management. What matters more is the overall trend. Are your numbers stable most of the day? Is your A1C improving? Are you feeling better? Those are the bigger indicators of success. Don't let one high morning reading derail your entire day or make you feel defeated. You're learning how your body works, and that process takes time, patience, and small, consistent steps. So here's my question for you. Do you struggle with high morning blood sugar? Have you noticed any patterns in when it's higher or lower? Drop a comment and let me know. I read every one, and your experiences help other people realize they're not alone in this. If this video helped clarify things for you, share it with someone who's dealing with the same frustration. These explanations can make a real difference in how people approach their diabetes care. You're doing better than you think. Keep learning, keep adjusting. And remember, you're not in this alone. I'll see you in the next video.